The Council of Stars was the largest room in the galaxy. Its walls were made of shining crystal that showed the stars and planets far away. Alien leaders from hundreds of worlds sat on massive thrones of metal and light. Each one was taller than a human. Each one had conquered entire civilizations. Each one believed no one could challenge them. And yet they were nervous today. Across the room, humans sat quietly. A small group. No armor. No weapons. No guards. Only calm faces. Their eyes watched everything. Their hands rested on the table. Their bodies were still. The aliens laughed. One of the leaders, a towering creature with silver scales, leaned forward. "So, this is humanity," he said. His voice boomed across the chamber. "Small. Fragile. Weak." Another alien snickered. "We expected more after all the stories. You are a joke." The humans did not respond. Not a word. Not a sound. Only silence. Silence made the aliens uneasy. They were used to obedience. They were used to fear. They were not used to being ignored. The main leader of the council raised a clawed hand. The laughter stopped. "You are here because your worlds are surrounded. Our fleets control your trade routes. Your technology is ours to take." He paused and looked at the humans. "You will obey. Or you will disappear." Still the humans did not speak. The chamber grew quieter. The hum of the energy fields around the thrones seemed louder now. Aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some whispered to each other. "Why do they not reply?" one asked. Minutes passed. Then the lead human representative stood. Slowly. Calmly. His hands rested on the table as he rose. His eyes scanned the room. One by one the other humans stood too. Their movement was silent but deliberate. The aliens stared. Shock replaced laughter. The human representative placed a hand on the table. He did not speak. He did not bow. He did not beg. He simply looked at the alien leaders. Then he turned and walked toward the massive doors at the far end of the chamber. The aliens froze. One alien chuckled nervously. "Is this a surrender?" The humans did not answer. They walked with confidence. Their footsteps echoed softly in the vast room. One by one the humans followed. No words. No threats. Only their calm determination. The massive doors closed behind them. Silence filled the chamber. For a long moment no one moved. Then a few aliens laughed. "They ran," one said. "It is as we expected." But not all were laughing. The older leaders, those who had seen centuries of wars, felt a strange chill. Something was not right. A young alien commander whispered, "Why did they leave like that?" No fear. No anger. Nothing. The main leader slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Prepare the fleets. Send messages. They will return. They always do." But in the empty corridors of human space, there were no fleets to send. No messages to answer. Only calm, quiet humans walking toward their ships. They moved without hurry, without fear. Their world was safe. Their plans were in motion. The aliens had mocked them. They had laughed at their small size. But laughter faded quickly. Already, small problems began to appear in the Empire. Trade stations stopped sending updates. Communication lines slowed. Automated defense systems failed briefly. Nothing huge. Nothing obvious. Only small errors. The young commander noticed first. "Systems, they are acting strangely," he said. "It is as if someone turned them off." The older leaders shook their heads. "Impossible," they said. "Humans cannot control these things from so far away." But in their hearts, doubt had begun to grow. The humans were gone. And the Empire, for the first time, did not know what would happen next. Outside the chamber, the stars glimmered. Outside the galaxy, humanity's ships moved silently, calmly, confidently. No one could see them. No one could stop them. And the Galactic Empire, for the first time in centuries, felt unsure. For they had mocked humans. And humans had quietly walked away. At first the aliens laughed. They could not believe humans had left the council chamber without arguing or begging. "They are weak," one alien commander said. "Small minds. No courage." Another laughed. "We need not fear them. They will return in a few days asking for mercy." The Galactic Empire had faced many species. All reacted the same way: fear, anger, or surrender. Humans were different. Silence, patience, and calm. Days passed. The Empire waited for the humans to return. They did not. At first it seemed harmless. Trade stations reported minor delays. Communication channels slowed slightly. Nothing alarming. But small problems became noticeable. A border station reported, Human supply ships have stopped arriving. No warning. No requests. Just silence. The leaders of the Empire were still confident. They cannot survive alone, one said. They will come back. They always do. But more reports followed. Navigation systems failed. Patrol fleets could not communicate efficiently. Automated factories slowed. Citizen complaints increased. The laughter inside the council chamber began to fade. "What is happening?" an older alien leader asked. His voice was tense. "Our systems are failing." An intelligence officer stepped forward. "Many of our systems rely on human designs," she said. "Small, unnoticed designs. They control the flow of information, trade, and resources. And now, they are offline." The council murmured. "Offline? That is impossible," one leader said. Another report arrived. A major fleet could not access updated star maps. Patrol formations became disorganized. Orders were delayed. "This should not happen," the fleet commander said. "Our systems are advanced. Humans are gone." "And yet?" The leader asked. "Yet everything they built is still controlling the galaxy," the commander replied. "Even in their absence." The chamber fell silent. Humans had left quietly. No war. No attack. No demands. And yet the galaxy felt their absence. Small rebellions began to appear. Minor planets refused to pay taxes. Traders ignored old rules. The Empire's messages went unanswered. The young alien commander whispered, "They are stronger than we thought, not in war but in presence." The intelligence officer nodded. Humans have always built systems quietly, patiently. They never demanded attention. They never showed power openly. And now we are learning how much we relied on them. The main leader slammed a clawed hand on the table. "Prepare fleets. Send patrols. Force communication. They will return." The orders were given. Fleets moved. Messages were sent. Codes were hacked. But humans did not return. They did not respond. The aliens began to feel fear. Not the fear of battle, but the fear of something they could not control. An older leader finally said, "We mocked them. We laughed. We believed ourselves strong. But their absence changes everything." The chamber was quiet. Laughter had vanished. The Galactic Empire had always believed in power, in control, in fear. Now they realized that absence could be stronger than armies. Small problems became chaos. Trade stopped in sectors that had never failed before. Supplies were delayed. Fleets moved slowly, unsure of the stars. Communications were inconsistent. The aliens whispered among themselves. "Humans, they are everywhere. Even when they are gone." The intelligence officer added, "We never noticed because we took it for granted. Every system, every network, every connection humans built, we depended on. And now we cannot replace it." Panic began to spread. Not panic in the streets, but panic in the thrones of power. The Galactic Empire laughed at humans once. Now they feared them. Because the humans had not fought. They had not attacked. They had simply left. And the galaxy, once thought to be under the Empire's complete control, began to feel the weight of their departure. Humans had shown strength. Quiet strength. Invisible strength. And the Galactic Empire had only just begun to understand it. The Galactic Empire was beginning to feel the first real shock. At first it was small. Minor errors in trade routes, delayed messages, and fleets arriving late. Nothing major. Nothing dangerous. But then it grew. A fleet commander reported, "Our patrol ships cannot navigate correctly. Systems are misaligned. Star charts are wrong." Another officer added, "The communication networks are unstable. Messages are delayed or lost." The council chamber grew tense. Alien leaders who had laughed at humans before now exchanged worried glances. "How can this happen?" one leader demanded. "Humans are gone. Their worlds are distant. Nothing should affect us." An intelligence officer stepped forward. Her claws rested on a glowing console. "It is affecting everything we rely on," she said carefully. "Human designs run quietly through our fleets, our trade networks, our communication grids. Even small changes in their systems cause disruptions across the galaxy." A murmur ran through the council. "They left," an older alien whispered. "They left and yet, they still control us?" The officer nodded. "Not control exactly. But their work, it holds everything together. And now that they are gone, the galaxy is beginning to feel it." A young commander leaned forward. "We could fix it," he said. "We could rebuild the systems ourselves." The officer shook her head. "It is not that simple. Humans design these networks to adapt, to grow, to protect themselves. They are learning systems. They adjust. They respond to absence as easily as presence. The chamber fell silent. Outside the council chamber, across the galaxy, minor chaos began to appear. Trade shipments arrived late. Factories stopped producing. Fleets drifted, unsure of their coordinates. No one attacked. No one destroyed anything. Humans had done nothing, except leave. The main leader of the council finally spoke. His voice was quieter than before. They mocked us, he said. We thought them small. Weak. But their absence is dangerous. Another leader added, we ignored them. We laughed at their calmness. And now, systems fail because of what we did not understand. The intelligence officer displayed a series of holograms. They showed maps of the galaxy. Trade routes blinked. Supply chains faltered. Borders wavered. These are minor issues, she said. But if ignored, they will grow. Larger sectors will fail. Our fleets will be ineffective. Our influence will weaken. The council looked at the maps in shock. How could a species so small, so young do this? One leader asked. By being careful, the officer replied. By planning quietly. By building systems the empire depended on without ever claiming power. And then leaving at the right moment. A whisper ran through the chamber. They planned this. Yes, the officer said. From the moment we laughed at them, humans were preparing. Not for war but for absence. And absence can be more powerful than fleets or weapons. The council realized something frightening. Humans had left the galaxy's most powerful empire exposed. Not to attack. Not to war. Not to conquest. Just to absence. A fleet commander broke the silence. We cannot react fast enough. Our patrols, our fleets, our communication, all depend on what they built. Without humans, everything slows. Mistakes happen. The galaxy begins to wobble. The leader's eyes narrowed. They left us, and we are only now noticing their power. The intelligence officer continued, we relied on them without knowing it. Every minor error now grows. The empire's mistakes will multiply. Chaos will rise, all because we thought humans were weak. The council sat in silence, absorbing the weight of her words. Humans had walked away. And now, for the first time, the galactic empire feared them. Not because of attack. Not because of weapons. But because of what humans had quietly built, and what the empire had foolishly ignored. The galactic empire had begun to understand something terrifying. Humans were gone. Their fleets were distant. Their worlds were quiet. And yet, the galaxy was beginning to wobble. Trade networks failed. Fleets moved slowly. Communication lines faltered. It was not war. It was not attack. It was influence. Silent, invisible, unstoppable. An intelligence officer stood in front of the council's glowing displays. We were blind, she said. Humans have created networks across the galaxy. Not armies. Not weapons. But connections. Alliances. Systems. Trade routes. Navigation networks. Communication grids. Even medical supply lines, they all depended on human planning. The chamber went quiet. They never demanded attention, the officer continued. They worked quietly, helping species, building networks. And now we feel their absence. Their leaving is more powerful than any attack. A young alien commander frowned. Are you saying humans controlled all this, without us knowing? Yes, she replied. And they chose when to withdraw. Step by step, region by region, they removed their presence. But systems remain. They adapt. They respond. And now, the empire is exposed. The council looked at the holographic maps. Borders blinked. Trade routes disappeared. Communication grids faltered. Even defense networks hesitated. The older leaders whispered. They taught others, shared knowledge, built independence, and then left us to face the consequences. A murmur ran through the room. The younger leaders shook their heads in disbelief. The intelligence officer added, look at this. She brought up data from multiple sectors. Species we once ruled now cooperate with each other. They trade. They communicate. They protect themselves. Humans never forced them. Humans never ruled them. And yet, they created a galaxy capable of surviving without the empire. The main leader clenched his hands. They did not fight. They did not attack. They simply prepared. Yes, said the officer. Prepared for absence. Every connection humans made was a silent lesson in self-reliance. Every network, every alliance, every system, it was a quiet test of our arrogance. And we failed. The young commander swallowed. So the humans leave, and we fall apart. The officer nodded. Step by step, the Empire's mistakes will multiply. Rebellions, shortages, fleet miscoordination. It will spread. And humans will simply watch. A low murmur rose in the chamber. The older leaders had seen empires rise and fall. But nothing like this. They are stronger than we imagined, whispered one of them. Not in war. Not in weapons. But in strategy. In patience. In influence. The main leader slammed a clawed hand on the table. Prepare fleets. Send messages. Find them. Force them to return. The officer shook her head. It will not work. Humans will not return unless they choose to. Force will not reach them. They left to show us that control is not strength. Patience is strength. Silence is strength. The council fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire understood fear. Not fear of battle. Not fear of attack. Fear of absence. The galaxy was changing. Humans were not rulers. They were not conquerors. They were teachers. And they had already left the classroom. The council looked out at the stars beyond the chamber walls. The stars themselves seemed calm, indifferent. But beyond them, human ships moved quietly, deliberately, invisibly. Systems and alliances grew stronger without a single confrontation. The Empire had mocked humanity. And humanity had quietly shown the true meaning of power. Without war. Without threat. Without mercy. They had left the Empire to face the cost of its arrogance. And the galaxy, once thought to be completely under the Empire's control, now began to bend to a power that could not be attacked, only understood. The Galactic Empire was breaking. Not by war. Not by attack. By absence. Fleets moved slowly. Trade was blocked. Communication lines failed. Supply chains collapsed. And the humans were nowhere to be found. Inside the council chamber, leaders shouted and argued. We must contact them, one shouted. Send messages, fleets, envoys, anything. Another growled, they mocked us. They laughed at our strength. And now they control everything without even fighting. The main leader sat silently for a moment, staring at the holographic maps. Borders flickered. Trade routes disappeared. Systems faltered. We have no choice, he finally said. Send our envoys. Beg them if we must. Humanity cannot be ignored any longer. Messengers were prepared. Holographic signals flashed across the galaxy, carrying words of apology, offers of trade, even pleas for guidance. Hours passed. Then days. No reply. The silence was heavier than any fleet of weapons. The aliens had laughed at humans once. Now they feared them. Fear was creeping into the council and even among the youngest commanders. A young diplomat whispered, they are watching us. Waiting. Judging. And we cannot reach them. Economic reports arrived. Galactic markets tumbled. Critical systems shut down. Citizens began to protest. Governors begged for aid. Entire sectors risked rebellion. The Galactic Empire had always ruled by strength. Now strength meant nothing. Fleets were sent to human-controlled sectors, but sensors returned empty. Navigation systems failed. Communications were ignored. The humans had cut all contact, and yet their influence was everywhere. The council tried again. Envoys. Diplomats. Formal requests. Every message ended in silence. Inside the chamber, a senior intelligence officer finally spoke. They are not returning because they choose not to, she said. They are letting us see what happens when the galaxy acts without them. And we are failing. The room fell silent. Every leader understood. They had relied on humans without knowing it. Every network, every trade route, every fleet depended on systems humans had built and quietly managed. And now, the absence of humanity was unraveling it all. The main leader whispered, we begged for their return. And they watch us fail. A young commander shook his head. It is worse than that, he said. We cannot even fight them. Not now. Not ever unless they allow it. Messages continued to arrive. Not from humans themselves, but from neutral species observing human networks. The report was clear. Humanity remained silent. They were watching. Calculating. Waiting. Even now, human systems adapted. Fleets that moved too slowly were rerouted automatically. Trade routes were redirected by their absence. Independent species began to cooperate in ways the Empire had never expected. The silence was not empty. It was filled with consequence. Weeks passed. The Galactic Empire tried everything. Threats. Demands. Offers. Bribes. Nothing worked. Humans were gone by choice. They had shown strength without firing a single shot. The council chamber became quiet. Leaders no longer shouted. They did not laugh. Fear had replaced arrogance. Pride had given way to uncertainty. Finally, the main leader addressed the chamber. Humans are not here to punish us, he said slowly. They left us to see the cost of our arrogance. And we are paying it now fully. A young diplomat nodded. They will not intervene. They never will. And we cannot stop the collapse we have begun. The Empire had laughed at humans once. The galaxy had mocked them. Now humanity's absence was a lesson louder than any war. A lesson that could not be ignored. And somewhere beyond the borders of Empire space, human ships waited silently. Calmly. Confidently. Watching. Judging. And the Galactic Empire, for the first time in centuries, understood. It was not humans' power that had conquered them. It was their choice. The Galactic Empire was crumbling. Not in war. Not by an attack. By its own arrogance. Across the galaxy, systems failed. Trade routes vanished. Fleets drifted without coordination. Communication networks flickered. Factories slowed. Planets that once obeyed without question began to demand independence. Citizens grew restless. They questioned leaders who had promised control and stability for centuries. Inside the council chamber, chaos reigned. Leaders shouted over each other. Fingers pointed. Blame was thrown. Our fleets are useless, one commander yelled. We cannot control borders. Patrols are lost. Messages never arrive. Another added, our trade networks collapse. Resources do not reach planets. People starve while we argue here. The main leader stood in silence for a moment, staring at the holographic maps of the galaxy. Borders blinked. Systems were offline. Supply chains had failed. He whispered, we mocked them. We laughed. And now, the galaxy suffers for it. The intelligence officer stepped forward. It is the humans' absence, she said. They left us to see the results of our arrogance. Every system we depended on, every network they quietly built, we ignored it. And now the cost is clear. Outside, minor rebellions had begun. A mining colony refused to pay taxes. A border sector ignored orders. Traders formed independent alliances. Fleets that once followed commands now acted slowly, hesitating. The Empire tried to fight back. Warships were sent. Fleets formed battle lines. Commands were given. But coordination failed. Communication delays caused mistakes. Ships arrived late. Strategies faltered. Even small pirate raids turned into chaos. The Empire could not respond efficiently. The Council realized something terrifying. Humans had never needed weapons. Humans had never fought to control. Their departure had left the galaxy organized, cooperative, and resilient. The Empire's arrogance could not survive this quiet test. The main leader's voice shook. We thought strength was power, control, fear. But we were wrong. One young commander whispered, they built a galaxy that can survive without us. And now we see our weakness. The Council sat in silence. Citizens lost trust. Planets questioned authority. Systems failed. Rebellion spread. The humans did not intervene. They did not fight. They did not even speak. They simply watched. And the Empire suffered. Slowly, quietly, inevitably. The intelligence officer added, they taught the galaxy patience, cooperation, and independence. And they left us to face the consequences of ignoring it. Every mistake we make now, every failure, is a lesson we paid for too late. The main leader looked out at the stars beyond the chamber. The distant points of light reminded him of something he had never understood before. Humans were gone. And yet everywhere their influence remained. Stronger than any fleet. Sharper than any weapon. The Empire had underestimated them. The arrogance of centuries had crumbled in the silence left by humans who refused to return until invited. The galaxy had changed. Not because humanity had fought. Not because they had conquered. But because they had walked away. And the Galactic Empire was learning humility the hard way. The main leader finally said quietly, we have failed. And they watch. Always watching. Not as enemies. Not as conquerors. But as teachers. The stars outside twinkled calmly, indifferent to the chaos below. And somewhere beyond Empire space, humanity waited. Silent. Patient. Powerful. Because true strength does not need to fight to be felt. The Galactic Empire had fallen, not by war, not by force, but by its own mistakes. Its fleets moved slowly. Borders were disputed. Trade was faltering. Citizens no longer trusted leaders. Rebellions had started in minor sectors. And yet, the humans remained silent. Then a signal arrived. Not loud. Not dramatic. Simple. Clear. A single message from humanity. The chamber froze. Screens lit up. All leaders leaned forward. The holographic display showed nothing but calm, steady data flow. No weapons, no threats, no demands. A human voice spoke. Calm. Confident. We left because peace without respect is not peace, the voice said. We did not leave to punish you. We left to protect ourselves, and to allow the galaxy to choose. The leaders stared in silence. Images appeared. Human worlds. Open councils. Cooperation with other species. Trade networks flowing smoothly. Planets thriving without conflict. Power does not come from fear, the voice continued. It comes from trust. Cooperation. Patience. Silence can be stronger than fleets. Absence can be stronger than weapons. The main leader swallowed. They left us to see the consequences, he whispered. Yes, said the intelligence officer. They never wanted revenge. They never needed to attack. They left so the Empire, and the galaxy, could see what happens when arrogance guides power. The voice continued. We will not return to rule. We will not return to fight. We will return only if invited, as equals. The chamber fell silent. Leaders understood. The humans had won, not by conquest, not by strength, but by choice. Across the galaxy, other species received the message. Hope spread. Cooperation grew. Independent networks of trade, communication, and defense flourished. The Galactic Empire had survived centuries of dominance. But now, humbled, it had to adapt, or fade. The main leader addressed the council. We cannot demand loyalty. We must earn it. And we must accept that strength is not control, but understanding. The intelligence officer nodded. The humans have taught us what true power is. And we are only beginning to understand it. Outside the council chamber, stars burned quietly. Ships moved silently through space. Humans did not hurry. Humans did not boast. Humans simply existed.